crack on? How's lockdown been for you? How is it?
Yeah, it's been good, thank you. It's just weird kind of acclimatizing to the new normal. Like, I'm used to going out every day, being on set, either acting or filming, like interviewing people, just always being active. So now being confined to like the 9 rooms or whatever it is in a house, it's a really strange feeling. I think at first I found it quite difficult. Like the first week, I definitely binge watched way too much Netflix, and I think I was in denial. But now I've kind of got used to it. I've got my nice little routine. In a weird way, I think it's quite nice because I normally live by myself in London, and I've just before the lockdown started, actually, I came back to my family home in York, so I've got to spend the lockdown with my parents, and I don't really get to see them that much living in London. So I guess that's a blessing in disguise.
They're the stars, aren't they? They're the unassuming sort of like, they've become personalities in themselves, haven't they?
They have, yeah. They love being in my videos and like my TikToks, and now sometimes they even come up with ideas, and I'm like, they're running the show, aren't they?
Nandos one, I'm not having. Your dad's Nandos one was absolutely brilliant, but I'm not having your into hot Nandos. I'm not having that at all.
The thing is, I thought about it. I was doing this video, and I always get medium, and I was thinking about all the times that I've been on dates in Nandos, and you can see it happen. The guys always say to the people at the counter, "Oh, mango and lime, but yeah, put in an extra hot flag, extra hot." And I'm sitting there like, well, if you stood a meter away from me, I can hear you. And I thought I have to put this in my video and see if anyone picks up on it. And not many people did. People were like, oh, wow, you really like spice. I was like, no, it's a joke. I was like, it's a British thing. Never mind.
How did you come up with the ideas? I mean, it's pretty full on, isn't it? It's not like you sort of do one and then leave it. Where'd you get the original material from?
Yeah, so there was, I remember the day that I did it, there was a hashtag coming up on TikTok called Our Local, and it was kind of appreciating your local haunt. So whether that be a restaurant or a pub or a cinema or a theatre, it was like, what do you miss where you'd like to recreate? And I was like, what do I miss? Obviously, it's got to be food places. So I thought, right, so I listed out all my food places, and I was like, Nando's, McDonald's, Burger King. And I thought, well, I want to do something that's like very stereotypically British. Because my audience on TikTok is mainly from the UK, and I thought, why not do Nando's? Like, I would love a good Nando's meal. To be honest, it was just an excuse to have like some good Nando's sides. So I disguised it as a TikTok video. So yeah, I had this idea, and I sat down with my dad, and he loves to cook. And I was like, how do you like feel making a Nando's meal? And he really likes Nando's, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. And literally 10 minutes later, we were in the kitchen. Like, luckily, we had all the ingredients. I love Nando's anyway, so I had like 10 sauces. You can tell from the video, there's a lot. There's like the peri-peri salt, the peri-naise, like 5 sauces. So yeah, we just recorded for like an hour whilst we were cooking, and yeah, I think it turned out quite well. People seem to really enjoy it.
I saw one of your pieces on YouTube when you went to the BBC. You were interviewed on BBC World News as an influencer. I mean, how did you sit down one day and go, right, I want to be an influencer? I mean, how do you do it? How does that come about?
So this is like my favorite question, because it was not planned at all. Like, people hate asking me this question, because I think when someone says, you know, did you plan being an influencer, they expect me to come up with a 10-step plan on how to get like 1 million followers, and that's not what happened. So basically, I studied theoretical physics at university. I've always wanted to be an actress, and my plan was go to university, study theoretical physics, graduate, go into banking for 5 years, then retire and fund myself to go through drama school. So there was never any plan of being an influencer. Like, when I was 18, when I went to uni, being an influencer, it wasn't a thing. It just hadn't been invented. And in my last 6 months at university, like whilst I was studying, people were starting to make content online, and I'd always watch people making comedy sketches, and I just loved it. And I thought, you know what, why don't I try doing something myself? Like, let's just have a go. What have I got to lose? And I started doing some funny videos, like little challenges, pranks, and comedy sketches, and they just blew up. I think in the last 6 months before I graduated, there was over 1 billion views in total, which I still can't get my head around. And that was like 3 years ago. And the day that I graduated, I made my Facebook page, I made my Instagram, I made my YouTube, and it's literally been my full-time job since then, which is insane to think
about. My 12-year-old daughter Tilly was watching with me lots of your stuff yesterday, and she said, "Ask Amber, how do you do a degree in theoretical physics and be an influencer? Ask her how she does it. How the heck did you manage to do that?"
Luckily, being an influencer didn't become my full-time job until I graduated. I do know some influencers who are studying at college or university and creating content, and honestly, I have so much respect for them, because it is a full-time job creating content. You're like writing the videos, you're scripting, directing, producing, editing, acting. It's so full on and it's wonderful. But oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine doing that whilst I was at university when you've got like lectures from 9 till 6. I was on the lacrosse team. Like there's just so much going on. So I think I was very lucky that it was university, and then literally like the next day from graduating, then that's where the whole influencer thing came on.
Why do you think people have tapped into it? What is it about your material? What is it about the sketches? What about the TikTok? Why are people so keen on it?
I have no idea. I hope that someone can tell me. To be honest, I don't know. I always try and figure this out, and I always get asked this, you know, why do your videos do so well? And I'm like, I really wish someone could tell me. To be honest, I think it's because I'm a woman in comedy, and there aren't really many of us. Like the amount of times that I've done like interviews to the papers, and they always put me as being like one of the quickest growing female comedy creators in the world. And I'm like, that title is terrifying, but that's also crazy. Like there's not that many women in comedy, and comedy sketches is my main thing. And it's just something I've always been so passionate about. And I have so much admiration for stand-up comedians, whether they're male or female, but I do feel like there is a massive gap in the market. And I don't know if it's because growing up, like even doing science growing up, not many women seem to be in that field either. So I think perhaps it's something where girls think, you know what, maybe we can't do comedy, and that's why there's not too many. Because if you look in like the fashion genres or beauty, it's completely female dominated, and then sports and like gaming is mainly guys. So yeah, I think we just need more girls, and maybe it's just because there's not many people doing comedy, and that's why they don't have anyone else. They're like, let's just watch Amber. She'll do.
How did you end up playing Jenga with Scarlett Johansson and Paul Rudd?
Best day ever. That was so much fun. So I do a lot of work with the movie studios. When I started out doing the whole influencer thing, I was just making my own sketches online. And one day a studio emailed my manager and said, like, how does Amber feel about doing an interview, like a celebrity interview? And I was like, oh, this is kind of scary, but okay, who is it with? And they said Nina Dobrev. Now, I was obsessed with the Vampire Diaries when I was younger. So my manager was on the phone like, she'll think about it. And I'm in the background like, say yes, say yes. And that's kind of started the whole celebrity interview side. Now, along with the interviews, normally it's just a movie junket, but every now and then you get a really cool experience, like with the Avengers, where I'll get invited down to a day. So it's like a day of challenges. There were influencers from all over the world. So I think I was the only one from the UK. There were people from like, oh my goodness, Brazil, South Africa, Australia, all over Asia, like France, Spain. It was insane. And kind of one representative from each country, we got put into groups, and they didn't really tell us what was going on. They just said, you're doing challenges with some of the Avengers. And I'm a massive Marvel fan. So I was like, okay, anything, I don't mind. And we turned up, saw all these challenges, and they said you're going to be paired off with either Chris Hemsworth, Paul Rudd, Scarlett Johansson, or the Russo brothers. I love all of them, and I'm just sat there like, this is literally the best day of my life. What is happening? And yeah, they said you're paired with Scarlett Johansson. And I think I was in shock because I'm such a fan of her work. Like all of the films that she's done, I just think she's an incredible human being and a wonderful actress. And I cannot wait for Black Widow to come out. So yeah, so we were going around the challenges, and the Jenga was the last one of the day. And she's like a ninja at Jenga. Okay, I thought I was decent. And it would take me like maybe 15 seconds to pull out one of the blocks. No joke, she literally looks at it and it popped out. Zero effort. I don't know how she did it. It was amazing. And very scary. But yeah, she's a ninja.
You know, exactly. But you know what? It did make me laugh because you were there going, you know, like we would be, especially if not even nervous or whatever, but, you know, as you do Jenga, really she just literally just like to say, Amber, get out of the way. This is what you do. I'm having it. And it was hilarious.
It's just the thing is because I'm so used to doing these. I'm so used to being at premieres now in the junkets that it's wonderful because I don't really get nervous. Like I did when I started, don't get me wrong. And I wasn't even nervous. I'm just very, very competitive. And at first I was like, no, she is like, I'm obsessed with this actress. I'm not going to be competitive. And then I realized how good she was. And this competitive side came out and I was like, ah! And I started stressing and watching the footage back. It's hilarious because she is cool as a cucumber. She's like, boop, boop. And I'm like, ah! And you can see my hands flying everywhere. And Paul Rudd's kind of looking at me, looking at the camera like, what is happening? This girl has like no coordination. And I'm just there flailing around. So that was a lot of fun. No more Jenga for me though. I don't really think that's my forte.
Who have you enjoyed? I mean, I've been lucky in my line of work, meeting people who I admire and interviewing them. And a lot of time people surprise you for good and bad. What about you? Is there a favourite interview you've done, a favourite person that you've met that you've thought, oh yeah, I like you?
Yeah, definitely. So it was the last interview that I did actually before the lockdown, and it was for the new Terminator movie. So I got to interview the whole cast. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger, who he's like one of my childhood heroes. I've always wanted to interview him. He's been at the top of my list for a while, so that was amazing.
How big is that? Tell me, is he massive?
Mahoosive. Mahoosive. He was sat down and basically sat down. He was still almost my height. It was weird because my mum's an ex-bodybuilder, and when I grew up, like, she had all of these bodybuilding books, and it took me a while to realize that's also Arnie. You know, he's an actor, he's a politician, he's a bodybuilder, he's got so much going on. And I think people forget, even though he's an actor now, like, that is what his history is, and he has the most incredible physique, and it's quite imposing, but he's such a lovely guy. It's like a weird disconnect seeing this guy who's massive and big muscles and this like really strong accent, and then he's just so friendly. Like, he's such a charming guy and genuinely such a pleasure to talk to. So I think it'd have to be Arnie.
Well, I mean, I know you're acting as well. What's coming up for you? What have you got in the pipeline?
Yeah, so it's been a bit crazy with lockdown. I had, I think it's 5 feature films that I was meant to be shooting between March and August, and they've all been postponed. So I have a feeling that when the lockdown is lifted, they're all going to try and book in at the same time. So I'm a little bit scared about that. Otherwise, films that have already been filmed that are in post-production, there's one called Rhea, which I'm really excited about. It's got Luke Goss fronting it from, I always say it wrong, Bros, that's right, isn't it? Bros! Oh my goodness, no! Okay, rewind. Yeah. Bros,
brothers.
So when I saw my parents, I was in that film, they were very, very excited because they're big fans of Bros, I'll say it right now. And I'm playing kind of like an American TV presenter who, if you remember Effie Trinket from the Hunger Games, that like super over-the-top presenter, very futuristic. I'm basically that character in the film, which was so much fun to play, and nothing like any other character that I've done before. So that was meant to be released in March, but again, delayed because of the lockdown, so hopefully that will come out soon. I've got a horror movie coming out called In Search of Fear, which I'm really excited about. I was about to say a spoiler then, and then I stopped myself. I'm terrible for spoilers. No spoilers. And I was halfway through production just before the lockdown. Again, another one called Being Kate Brown, which is about an interracial relationship. I'm playing the girlfriend, and then there's this really lovely guy called Samuel who's playing the boyfriend. And it's kind of this clash of the two cultures, like an African culture and London, England, and how they kind of tackle all of the problems that can be expected from an interracial relationship. So again, not like any of the projects I've done. We're going to continue filming once the lockdown's lifted, so I'm really, really excited about that.
Which way will your career go, do you think, in the end? Or would you like to be able to sort of say, well, I still want to do influencer stuff. Oh, yeah, I'd like to be an actress. I'd like to be a celebrity. It sounds like the perfect job to me.
Yeah, oh my goodness, I love it. I want to have my fingers in all of the pies. I just want to do all of them forever. People ask me this and they're like, oh, you must prefer one. And I'm like, no, I want to be a 90-year-old actor, presenter, influencer. That is my plan, genuinely. Honestly, it's the best job in the world. I wouldn't change it for anything. And I think being able to juggle the three, like, they're so similar and yet so different. And I feel like there's so many different creative outputs that I get from those 3 different segments. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to do all 3 for as long as I can.
I want to see your dad when you're doing your films. I want to see your dad and your mum in sort of some kind of Hitchcockian kind of just like little just not even a cameo, just like appearing in the background, like some a Nandos chef or something. You know, just it would be
I would love that.
Should
I just get my dad there with a bottle of Nandos sauce, no explanation, just walking across the background, staring at the camera. Okay, Rob, it's going to happen. I'm going to tell the directors from now on film, you have to have a cameo of my parents with Nandos sauce. Get like a sponsorship campaign from Nandos. I don't mind. That would be hilarious.
Hey, listen, do you know what? Brilliant. Do you know what? Thanks a lot. It's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah, it's been so nice talking to you as well. Thank you again for having me on this. I really appreciate it. Can
I ask one favour? They've asked me to ask. Apparently, an NHS kind of deal in all this. Can you just say a nice thing about the NHS workers or whatever, little message? Would you do that for us?
Yeah, of course. So I've got a little story, actually, if you want a quick story. Yeah, so even when you watch the Nandos video, you think my dad looks like really healthy and happy, but he's actually had a few different procedures since the lockdown started. And I think in total he spent about 30 days in hospital over the last year. So he's had a lot going on. And before and after the lockdown, I was so impressed because the behavior of the NHS staff hasn't changed at all. Like anytime I go and visit him in hospital, like they're always so like positive and bubbly and helpful and kind. And I have so much respect for them. I always have. And once the lockdown was kind of initiated and this whole COVID-19 pandemic happened, I was really intrigued to see how the hospitals would change. Because I thought, well, there's so much pressure on them, you know, like, are they still going to have time to properly look after the patients and talk to them? And genuinely, like, nothing changed. Like, I'm so blown away. And I love just giving appreciation wherever I can, because I think our frontline workers, whether it is the NHS or people in other key worker jobs, it's just incredible how people have carried on like nothing's changed. And like, yeah, we couldn't have got through the lockdown without the NHS workers. I just think they're incredible. Like, as they say, not all superheroes wear capes. I have got a lot of love for them.
Amber, that's absolutely brilliant. Have a lovely day. Take care. Regards to your mum and dad. And
Thank you very much, Rob. You too.
Follow me religiously from now on.
Okay, well, if you have any video ideas, or if your little one has any video ideas, please send them over and we'll do it.
I will do. Take care, Amber.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rob. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.